Well, we sit here on Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. Juan Soto is a New York Met. The Yankees have officially initiated Plan B. What is Plan B? It's going to be a mixture of things. But so far, the Yankees found themselves a number two for Garrett Cole, Max Fried from the Atlanta Braves. 8 years, $218 million. It's the largest contract ever dished out in Major League Baseball history for a left handed pitcher. He's going to be making about $27 million per year, hence the 8 years. I think he wanted a 6 or 7 year deal. The Yankees stretch it out to 8 years to stay under 30 million per season for the total AAV for each player. Good deal for the Yankees. Garrett Cole, Max Fried, that 1-2 punch. You partner that with Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt, maybe even Marcus Stroman, maybe even Louis Seal at the end of that rotation. The Yankees got a lot of bandwidth in that starting rotation right now, and that's Mr. Cortez. I'll throw his name in there as well. The Yankees got 7 starters, which means they got some depth and they got some trade pieces that they could use most considerably for a guy named Kyle Tucker. So Kyle Tucker, who is an absolute animal in right field for the Houston Astros, as well as at the plate. I think he hits third or fourth for the Houston Astros. Could be a New York Yankee as early as tomorrow, maybe as late in the next week, the next couple weeks. The Yankees want Kyle Tucker to replace Juan Soto. And if there isn't a move that tells your fan base we still want to win a World Series after losing arguably the best player, the best hitter in baseball right now, it's that move. You get Kyle Tucker, you trade who you got to trade. The Houston Astros apparently are in love with Luis Heel. Are you willing to give up 5 years of control for the current AL Rookie of the Year for honestly just one guaranteed year of Kyle Tucker before he hits the free agent market next year? You're literally doing what you did last year when you gave up Michael King and Kyle Higashioka for Juan Soto. You got him for 1 year, and it was a marvelous year. Don't get me wrong. One great year that led to a World Series run, in large part because of Juan Soto. But then he broke your heart and he signed a 15-year deal worth $765 million with the New York Mets, to the crosstown rival. So do you take that risk of Luis Heel? You give the Houston Astros, a team you're probably going to face in the playoffs, 5 years of control for Luis Heel for just one guaranteed year of Kyle Tucker. Now, you are the New York Yankees. You do have the Steinbrenner family's money. There is a large chance that you can re-sign Kyle Tucker. But what if the Mets are interested? What if the Dodgers are interested? What if Steve Cohen is interested? What if the Guggenheim family is interested? You're not going to re-sign Kyle Tucker at that point because they're going to match you dollar for dollar at every which point that you go. Judge and Tucker in the middle of that order. I mean, I like that to go along with maybe a Christian Walker at first base, Giancarlo Stanton in that DH position. You're probably going to give Jason Dominguez a ton of at-bats. I think left field is his as of right now, unless you do go heavy for a couple of other big bats. Cody Bellinger's name has been thrown into that mix as well. Here are the facts. According to Jack Curry, according to Brian Hoke, according to all the Yankees insiders, they want Kyle Tucker. They're going to go hard after Kyle Tucker. The Cubs are going hard after Kyle Tucker. It's probably going to be between the Yankees and the Cubs, it seems like, at this point. Do you really want to give up Luis Heel? And, you're probably going to have to give up some other big names as well. Spencer Jones's name's probably going to get thrown around. You're going to have to give up some pretty promising pieces if you want Kyle Tucker for that 1 year, and let alone if the Houston Astros and the New York Yankees even want to do business with each other, considering Brian Cashman throws the Astros name under the bus every chance he gets when he does interviews in the media. I like the idea of putting Kyle Tucker out there in the outfield, whether that's left field, because he's a tremendous outfielder. What Juan Soto wasn't really. You're losing a once-in-a-generational hitter in Juan Soto, but you could be getting a very, very big juggernaut of a hitter in Kyle Tucker, who's also a great defender out there in right field, and also is a very, very, very knowledgeable and aware base runner, which Juan Soto wasn't as well. So I like the idea of a Tucker-Judge combo in that 2-3 order for the Yankees. I do like Christian Walker at first base. They were talking to him about an apparent 3-year deal. I would try to get him for at least 2 years, definitely not 4. 2024. I do like Christian Walker. He's a back-to-back Gold Glove winner over there at first base. I saw him a lot in Phoenix with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Great pole hitter, great hitter the opposite way that will benefit the short porch and right field at Yankee Stadium. I like Christian Walker if you can get him for the right deal. If not, I also do like Cody Bellinger at first base. Say you get Kyle Tucker, you give up Luis Gil, you give up a Spencer Jones, you have Judge back there in center, you got Tucker in right, Dominguez in left, and you put Cody Bellinger at first base. When you want to give one of those guys a day off, you put Cody Bellinger in right, center, or left. That's the beauty of Cody Bellinger, ladies and gentlemen. Coming off a pretty outstanding year with the Chicago Cubs in 2023. Had a decent year in 2024, and he's coming into another free agent year after following this season. Beauty about Cody Bellinger, too, is that I don't think the Yankees are really going to have to give up much as long as they eat the remainder of his contract. He's owed over $27 million in 2025 from the Chicago Cubs. I think the Yankees could probably get away with dealing a Marcus Stroman or even like a Jose Trevino for Cody Bellinger. So you're not going to have to give up much talent. You're just going to have to eat the rest of the contract. If you give up Marcus Stroman, maybe the Cubs will eat the rest of Marcus Stroman's contract. That's kind of a win-win in my eyes. But talks have kind of stunted there because of the money that's involved on both sides, most doubtably on Cody Bellinger's side. But imagine a middle of the order where the Yankees have Kyle Tucker, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Christian Walker, and Giancarlo Stanton 2 through 6. I mean, that more than makes up for the loss of Juan Soto. It doesn't make up for the fact that you lost out on a once-in-a-generation talent in Juan Soto, but it makes up for the fact that, okay, Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner are showing you that they want to win a World Series next year, considering the AL is pretty weak and you're probably still going to be the favorites if you do land a Kyle Tucker and or a Cody Bellinger and or a Christian Walker after getting Max Fried. But there are a lot of holes right now. You got to get first base. You got to get an outfielder. You got to get second base. You got to get third base. The Yankees have been tied to Alex Bregman as well, and I will sit here and tell you bluntly that I think that would be a horrible decision by the front office to go after an Alex Bregman for third base. The guy hit 260 with 26 home runs last year with the Crawford boxes in left field at Minute Maid Park for the Houston Astros. That does not play at Yankee Stadium. Take away 10 home runs there. He hits 16 home runs and hits 260. You think that's worth his defense at third base? I don't think so. I think you could probably cover that from within. I really like Caleb Durbin. Maybe you put him at second base, keep Jazz Chisholm Jr. at third base. I just don't like the idea of bringing over Alex Bregman, considering he was probably one of the more favorable cheaters of that 2017 Astros team. I just don't like it. They were flirting with the idea of potentially trading for Carlos Correa as well. Don't love that. If we're going to bring over any Houston Astro, it's Kyle Tucker in right field. And yes, I think you have to give up a notable name. Not a lot of people want to give up Luis Gil. I hear a lot of dumbass Yankee fans saying, well, why don't we just give them Stroman and LeMahieu? It's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. You got to give value to get value. And I think if you're going to get Kyle Tucker, and I think the Yankees really want him, and I think the Yankees should get him, you got to give up Luis Gil. 5 years of total team control over the next 5 years for a guaranteed 1 year of Kyle Tucker. I think the Yankees can re-sign him, though, especially if he performs. I mean, we saw Juan Soto perform. It was a dream year, and we didn't get him because the Mets threw more money at him. If Kyle Tucker has a great year with the Yankees, you go balls to the walls to re-sign that guy. He's probably going to cost you $450, maybe $500 million if he has a great year in the Bronx. But, I mean, you wanted Soto and Judge for the next 10 years. I like the idea of Kyle Tucker and Aaron Judge for the next 7 to 8 years in the middle of part of that order, protecting each other, protecting maybe a Cody Bellinger, protecting Giancarlo Stanton for the remaining years of his deal. I like Kyle Tucker. I like Cody Bellinger. I like Christian Walker. All reasonable signings for the Yankees that they're able to get on the affordable side, at least for 2025. I was throwing names earlier out there like a Teoscar Hernandez or maybe an Anthony Santander. Those guys might cost a little bit more, but both very favorable for Yankee Stadium as well, especially Anthony Santander. But after the Max Fried signing for 8 years, $218 million, the Yankees have shown they ain't going anywhere. Juan Soto broke their hearts, but they're on the rebound. Max Fried's in play, or Max Fried's now in the rotation with Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon. Now I think you give up the favorable AL Rookie of the Year, Luis Heel, to go get yourself an absolute beast out there in the outfield in Kyle Tucker.